Students in Organizational Behavior Unit 1, let's discuss about motivation, and the focus will be on the theories of motivation, that is foundational theories and classical theories. The theory proposed by Abraham Maslow, Herzberg, two-factor theory, and Victor Vroom's expectancy theory. Let's begin to understand the first theory, which is proposed by Abraham Maslow, which is referred as Maslow's hierarchy of needs theory. So let's first understand the basics of this theory. Abraham Maslow proposed this theory during 1954. This theory is also known as the hierarchy of needs theory. He suggests that human behavior is driven by a desire to meet 5 fundamental needs, which are arranged in a hierarchical order. This hierarchy is often depicted as a pyramid. So as you look at this chart, in center you have a pyramid. So there are levels of needs which moves up the pyramid. At the bottom most we have physiological needs or referred as the basic needs. The next layer we have safety and belongingness needs. And the third layer we have is love and belongingness needs. And the fourth is esteem, and the topmost we have is self-actualization. The second level also includes safety and security needs. So here we will need to understand each need in detail and how Maslow has suggested in his theory how an individual move up the ladder. So here the 5 levels of Maslow's hierarchy of needs must generally satisfy the lower level or deficiency needs, and then they can focus on the higher level growth needs. The physiological needs, these are the most basic biological requirements for human survival, such as air, food, shelter, water, warmth, and sleep. If these needs are not met, the human cannot function optimally and all other needs becomes secondary. The second level of need is safety and security needs. Once physiological needs are met, individuals seek security and protection from physical and emotional harm. This includes personal security, financial security such as job security, stable income, health and well-being, and a safe environment. The third layer we have is love and belongingness needs. This level addresses the human need for social connection and interaction. It includes the need for friendship, family bonds, intimacy, trust, affection, and a sense of being part of a group. The fourth level we have is esteem needs. After social needs are fulfilled, the desire for self-esteem and respect from others become a primary motivator. Maslow divided this into 2 categories: self-esteem, that is, dignity, achievement, mastery, independence, and the need for recognition, status, and prestige from others. And the topmost we have is self-actualization needs. This is the highest level of the hierarchy, representing the realization of the one's fulfillment of full potential and the desire for personal growth and self-fulfillment. Motivation at this level stems from the pursuit of individual's talent, creativity, and the desire to become the most one can be. The key principles of this theory is hierarchical progression. The central principle is the idea of an ordered progression. A person is primarily motivated by the lowest unmet need in the hierarchy. Next comes the deficiency versus growth needs. This first 4 levels are deficiency needs because motivation decreases as the needs are met. Self-actualization, however, is a growth need and motivation for it increases as it fulfilled. A fulfillment need is not a motivator. Once need is sufficiently satisfied, it no longer serves as a primary motivator, and the individual is driven to pursue the next level of needs. Flexibility, while often presented as a rigid pyramid, Maslow acknowledged in his later work that the order of the needs is not necessarily linear and can vary based on individual differences, culture, or specific circumstances. For example, some individuals may prioritize esteem over love and belonging. So there are few criticism. The criticism such as lack of empirical support, cultural bias, and oversimplification. So this is how Maslow has explained the theory of motivation. Let's move on to the next theory of motivation, which is referred as the two-factor theory of motivation, proposed by Herzberg, which is also called as two-factor theory. Let's discuss this theory in detail. The two-factor theory of motivation, a theory that identifies two sets of factors that influence job satisfaction. The motivators are the job content factors such as achievement, recognition, responsibility, advancement, and the work itself. The next is hygiene factors, job context variables such as salary, interpersonal relations, technical supervisions, working conditions, and the company policies. Job satisfaction is influenced by motivator factors. Herzberg's two-factor principles, which also talks about the job dissatisfaction, which is influenced by hygiene factors such as working conditions, relationship with the co-workers, rules and regulations or policies, the quality of supervisor, and base wage salary. So, improving the motivator factors increases job satisfaction. Improving the hygiene factors decreases job dissatisfaction. This is how Herzberg has classified the two factors which contributes and motivates an employee in an organization. Next, we move on to the third theory, which is called the Victor Room's theory or the expectancy theory proposed by Victor Room. He belongs to the School of Management, that is Yale School of Management in 1964. He proposed this theory. Room stresses and focuses on outcomes and not on needs, unlike Maslow and Herzberg. Expectancy theory. A person will be motivated to put forth a higher level of effort if they believe their efforts will result in higher performance and therefore better rewards. So this is how he has linked. It is a cognitive process theory that suggests an individual's motivation to exert effort in a particular way depends on their expectation that the effort will lead to desired outcomes and the value they place on those outcomes. The theory focuses that individuals are rational beings who make conscious choices about their behavior based on how much they expect a certain action to help them achieve their personal goals. The core components of Victor Room's model is built on three key interconnected variables, which can be expressed in the formula, which is motivational force MF is equal to expectancy represented as E and instrumentality represented as I, valence represented as V. If any of these three components is zero, the overall motivation will be zero. Expectancy. Effort leads to performance. This is the individual's belief that their effort will lead to the desired performance level. It is the perceived probability that working harder will result in bigger performance. Instrumentality. Performance leads to outcome. This is the belief that achieving the performance goal will lead to a specific outcome or reward. It is the perceived correlation between good performance and the promised reward. Example, if I get a good grade, I believe my parents will reward me with a new gadget. So it is a belief, valence, value of the outcome. This refers to the emotional orientation or value an individual passes on the expected reward or outcome. The reward must be something the individual actually wants and considers worthwhile. Example, the individual must actually want a new version of a phone for the promise of one to be a motivator. In essence, Room's theory highlights that managers must not only offer desirable rewards but also ensure employees believe that they have the capability and the support system to achieve them. Hence, we have discussed three important theories: Abraham Maslow's need hierarchy theory, followed by Herzberg two-factor theory, and the last theory we discussed is Victor Room's expectancy theory.